Hey, how do I prepare for my annual performance review so that I can get that promotion and salary increase that I'm looking for? This is such a popular question I have seen on my weekly LinkedIn Live Supercharge Fridays. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing my favorite tips and tricks that I have learned and applied over years as working in HR professional around the world. If this is what you're interested in, keep watching. Hey, welcome to Supercharge. This is the place to hang out for all things careers. My name is Sonal Bahl, an international career strategist and former HR director with over 20 years experience in Asia, South America, and Europe. If you like things like promotion, salary increase, and all the cool stuff that comes with it, you've got to subscribe to my channel so that you never miss another video. And yeah, in order to do that, you need to click that bell icon. Go do it now. I'm waiting. Go do it. Okay, now let's get into it. Now, what is the purpose of a performance review? Now, usually the idea is to compare your performance, level of performance this year versus last year. And has there been any change to warrant an increase in responsibilities, which is a promotion, and also an increase in your total compensation and benefits package? That is usually an annual performance review. So before I share my favorite tips and tricks with you, I'm going to share a little bit of interesting information that I think you'll particularly find very useful. The entire process of performance management is extremely important, but highly flawed as a process. The purpose of performance management is to improve quality of work, productivity, and business outcomes. But the traditional approaches that have been used over the years have consistently fallen short. Why is that? For so many different reasons. I'm going to share some stats with you that I think might even astound you. 13% of employees and managers think that their organizational performance appraisal system is useful. Just 13%. 22% employees think their manager actually knows the difference between a high and a low performer. That's it. That means the remaining 70 something percent don't have faith. So just before we get started, just understand that the process is not perfect. People are messy, whether it is the manager, whether it is the team member. So knowing that the system is imperfect to begin with, it is a question of how do you control the controllables and position yourself for the best possible outcomes. Let's start with goal setting. And no, I'm not talking about your goals. I am talking about the goals of the company, because every single company, publicly or privately within the company, shares their annual goals. Now, check what those goals are. Number two, check what are the goals of your manager. If you don't have access to it, ask your manager. I don't think he or she will mind when they see that you're interested in helping them succeed, basically. So when you have seen the organizational goals, you see the manager's goals as much as you can. Try and get hold of them. Then look at your goals. This is easier if you do it for the previous year because that data is usually available. Now look at how your goals tie in closely with the goals of your manager, and how do his or her goals tie in closely with the goals of the company. The reason I say that is they need to be a direct correlation. That a certain company has goals, one of those goals is obviously increase revenues by a certain number. How are you helping that company increase revenues, for example? Or if the goals are related to compliance, because it's in a type of industry where compliance is really important, or customer fulfillment is very important, or saving money is very important. How are you helping the boss that you have to meet his or her goals? Because this, when you have this view, you know what it was the previous year, so that when you start planning for the coming year, you're not working in isolation. You know there is a core, very strong correlation, and you do whatever you can to ensure that the results and the outcomes that you have demonstrated in your performance appraisal tie in very closely with your boss and his or her boss as well. The second thing you want to do is look at your current job description. Now, it's possible that the job description you have is the same one that has been there since they hired you, and maybe it's been a while, so it's not been updated. So it is a very important thing for you to see if the role has evolved over time, that the job description reflects that as well. Because in many cases for an annual appraisal, the job description is also used as a base. But if the base is incorrect, you can imagine if the foundation is weak, everything else that's building on it is also going to be showing inaccuracies. And you do not want that, because you want to show that the things you do tie in very closely, so that when you move to the next role, the other job description is not wrong again. And it's not built on what was there, which was incorrect, but it is built on what is already correct and validated by your manager. I can't tell you how frequently this happens. And HR, I mean, they're great and all. They don't have time to go around and update job descriptions for every single job within the company. Nobody does. So it's your responsibility that it reflects the reality and it reflects your reality. Now, when it comes to preparing, you know that this meeting is coming up, it's in a few days' time. One thing that you can do, and definitely it helps you if you have been proactive 100%. So, now what am I talking about? Your list of achievements. Now, I'm gonna take you on this analogy ride with me. Just humor me and come along, okay? Now, you have a pile of dirty laundry. It has been increasing, increasing, increasing. Now it's been a year. So you can imagine there's a mountain of clothes that you need to get through. However, if you decide every 2 weeks or every month to wash, and I'm exaggerating, who washes once a month, right? But the point is, the more you attack with consistency and collect those achievements, in other words, put all the dirty laundry in the wash, get it out, get it ironed, get it folded. It is so much easier in the end, because there is no pile and there is no mountain to go through anymore. And this is very, very true for your achievements. Not only is it volumes we're talking about, but your brain is not robotic. You're not going to remember every cool thing that you have done, that you got a lot of praise for from your manager, from the vice president, etc. So this is a bit, I'm also going to say reactive, but I'm also going to help you with proactive. Now, this is more proactive. As and when something good happens and you are told that you did a good job, ask that person very politely, particularly when they are at a senior decision making level, ask them if they can put it in writing. And most of the time, nobody minds putting it in writing and say, could you put this on email, because I think what you just shared is really important. And it's something that I think I should keep a note of, so that when the annual, performance appraisal is there, it's something that I can highlight, and it's not my words, it's your words, and that matters a lot. And person will think, oh, wow, this person is being really proactive. So you've got to have receipts. You can't just say you've done great work. You've got to have receipts to show for it. This is what I call my appreciation station methodology, where every time you receive an amazing compliment at work, whether it's from a peer, a colleague, whether it's from a manager, honestly, from anywhere. Because even if it's from a peer or you're thinking it's from someone who's junior to you, you're like, oh, that's not really helpful. It is. If you're looking at more senior roles and they see you as someone who's good with people, this matters. These are testimonials. And it's exactly like you're going on Amazon and you're checking out all these products. You want to see the product that has the highest number of reviews, my friend. You're not going to try an untried, untested product before. Nobody's used it before. We hesitate, right? So it's human nature to look for social proof. And going back to the laundry methodology, right? So instead of checking with your boss once a year, make it a habit to have periodic meetings once a month Once in 2 weeks is personally for me a sweet spot, because bosses travel, bosses are busy, and you're busy as well on executing and getting things done. But using these as opportunities and talking about the fact that there are certain goals you have, what can you do to reach those goals faster? What are your boss's goals? How can you help your boss to reach their goals faster? Don't ask them only once a year, but check on it on a regular basis, so that when the time comes and there's a performance appraisal, your boss is actually quite prepared. And nobody, I don't know anybody on this planet who likes unpleasant surprises. So put yourself in the shoes of the boss. They're sitting, they have an employee, a team member at the table. They're doing their performance appraisal. They're looking at what went well, where do they need help, where do they need improvement. And out of the blue, that team member says, "Oh, boss, by the way, there's a lot of inflation and I did great work. I need a 20% raise." Out of the blue. Nobody likes that, right? It looks really great on TV, in the movies. And you're like, pay me or I quit. But in reality, it doesn't work that way. So, in order to not do that, like ever, you want to be that person that consistently checks that you are interested. This is your target role. This is where you see yourself going. Do they agree with you? What are the steps you need to take? And every month, check whether you are getting closer to it or not. So this is the proactive part. Now, if you're in the reactive side and you're watching this right now because something is coming up in the next few days, make that huge laundry list of achievements. Make sure it is validated. You've got you've got the proof. You've got to show, you've got to build a case on how you helped the company to make more money, save time, and build or save their brand and reputation. And it could be that the company, they had to let go of a few people, or some people quit, and they weren't, HR or the recruiting team wasn't able to do all the replacements in time. It all fell on you. You show that. Work on your storytelling, work on your pitch. It's a business case and it's a pure business decision. This is something that is very hard to say no to on the other side, because it's based on facts and it's based on numbers. So keep your receipts. Don't do your laundry once a year. Take this away from this video. Lastly, now let's say you're in the meeting and you're not really quite sure if the meeting is going well, and you're getting feedback, right? Now, most of the time, this F word, feedback, can set a lot of us like really on edge, and it can make us really nervous. So, what you want to do is, when it comes to feedback, ask for specific feedback. It is, Sonal, you're a very hard worker, but you need to work more on your presentation skills. Oh, all right. Thank you for sharing that with me. I really appreciate it, boss. Can you help me understand um, what brought, what brought on this observation? Is there a particular instance? Ask for examples, ask for specificity, and the timing matters, because I have noticed when there are performance appraisals, there is something called a recency bias, and managers tend to focus on something that has happened more recently, as opposed to something you did 8 months ago and 9 months ago, and it was a huge success, but nobody remembers. So it's your job to ensure that the timing is there and everything is on the table. But specific matters. General is your enemy, specific is your friend. So feedback is important. Listen to learn, listen to understand, but don't immediately listen to respond, because most of us by nature listen to respond. That doesn't help us, particularly when the feedback is difficult or when the feedback is something we don't necessarily agree with. Now, here are some tips to help you. Number one, and I already talked about it, and I think it bears repeating, do not work on your goal setting in silos. Work on your goal setting for the year with your manager. Involve him or her in this entire process. Number two, stay away, far away from gossip. You're going to see during this period of time when everyone is going through performance appraisals, people are going to be sharing their final rating. Oh, this one was a E, this one was a meet expectations, this one was a A, whatever it is. This is frankly something between you and your manager. If you obviously have a close friend, you want to talk about it, talk about it. But this tends to become a very gossipy subject. People don't have all the facts. And I don't think it helps you to be gossiping about, John and Amit and what they got and versus what you have. It doesn't help anyone, and we're not in school anymore, right? And context and layers and nuance is everything when it comes to performance. What is a good performer? Who is a bad performer? It's highly subjective. Remember, we said it's an imperfect process. The third, if you have made certain mistakes and the boss noticed it and talked about it during the performance review, and by the way, it's bound to happen, right? It's one of the things that helps us to grow. We get better and we don't repeat those mistakes. But if this has happened with you, own up to those mistakes. Do not shy away. Do not brush it under the carpet. And definitely do not deny that it wasn't your fault and blame this person or that department. Own up, take responsibility, make a plan to ensure that this never happens again, and share that plan with your boss. And lastly, unless you find, and this is exceptional, but unless you find that the whole process has been unfair and you've been unhappy for a really long time, right? Unless this is the case, do not say, give me this rating or give me this promotion or I quit. That is an ultimatum that nobody likes. So if you do that, just remember you are pretty much burning your bridge. You're not going to go back there. And even if you're not happy, you want to make a plan to make the next move, to jump and to go to a different company. You want to do that in good time without it affecting your earning capacity or without it affecting your positioning in the job market. Yes, this is not an easy process. I have this experience as an employee, as a manager of a team, but also as HR. It is an imperfect process. Approach it from a point of view of learning goals. What are my learning goals? What are my goals this year versus last year? How are these helping the company? How are these helping my boss? That is it. So the most important thing I want you to take away from this video, consistency definitely beats intensity. You don't want to do like huge pile of laundry once a year and it's so much hard work and you're so tired. You want to do it on a regular basis, just like you were talking about your achievements. And number two, you want to be, as far as possible, you want to be proactive instead of reactive. And with this approach, with an open mind and good conversations and not putting too much pressure on yourself, asking for that raise, asking for that promotion when you know you jolly well deserve it, it's going to be a much more pleasant process. I hope this has been helpful. What has been the biggest takeaway? I'm going to ask you, if you watch this till the end, I'm so happy you're here. Write the word performance ninja. Put the word performance ninja in the comments. I love reading this because it means that you watched till the end, and that matters a lot to me. Thank you so much for being here. Check out my other playlists. I hope they help you. And until next time, take care of yourself. Keep dreaming, keep believing, keep supercharging. You got this.